The flat dumbbell bench press is a great all-around exercise because it's the one that's calling upon the most muscle fibers. Hi, I'm Mark McKilliard, and I'm with Live Anabolic, and let's talk about how to build a big chest, a big wide chest. So big chests are impressive whether you're at the pool and your shirt's off or whether you're just walking around the house with a t-shirt on, all right? So a big chest can be seen basically no matter what. And I have 7 tips I'm going to give you guys today on how to build a big wide chest. Now, I don't think I've ever shot a video with 7 tips, but I'm going to do it today. Now, guys, all of the tips are not exercises. So some of these tips are, what exercises I want you to do, and some of them are techniques and other kind of interesting little tidbits of information. So before I get to all those tips, I just want to remind you about our free resource. We got a fantastic Facebook group, all right? I don't care if you don't like Facebook. I don't either. Just create an account, log on, see what's happening. It's free. We have 16,000 members around the world. They're exactly like you, okay? There's none of these young 25-year-old bodybuilders in there. Everybody in there is over the age of 40. And I would say most everybody is over 50. So lots of guys in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, some guys in their 80s, some guys in their 40s, but the honey hole for this group is 50 to 75, all right? And I'm the moderator. So I'm answering questions, but everybody else is too. And the camaraderie is fantastic. So you just got to give it a shot. Everybody that gets in there really says it helps them out. And once again, it's free. So don't let a free resource go to waste. All right, we got 7 tips to go through, so I better get to it real quick. Tip number 1, I want you guys to do flat dumbbell bench presses. Now, I'm not actually going to demonstrate the exercises today because there's only 3 of them, which means the other 4 are non-exercises. But everybody in here that's watching today should know how to do that. And if you don't, that's okay. Just use the little search feature in the upper right-hand corner of our YouTube channel. It looks like a little magnifying glass. Just click on it and then type in, flat dumbbell bench press, all right? And you'll find multiple videos right here on this channel on how to do it. So guys, part of these tips and part of the tricks to building a big chest is hitting all these muscle fibers, because it's a pretty big muscle group, from different angles, okay? And so the flat dumbbell bench press is a great all-around exercise because it's the one that's calling upon the most muscle fibers. The biggest percentage of your chest muscle fibers are being used. And that's why typically you can lift the heaviest dumbbells when you're doing them on a flat bench. Okay, tip number 2, it's the kissing cousin to tip number 1, and that is incline dumbbell bench presses. So why do you want to do that? Well, guys, the upper part of your chest is typically the hardest part to develop. It's almost everybody's weak point, okay? And when you incline the bench and you start doing incline presses, you're putting more emphasis on the upper part of your chest, okay? And so those upper pec muscle fibers are being called upon more than the lower part. Now, the lower, chest is still being activated, but all we've done is we've taken some of the stress from the bottom and moved it to the top of our chest by increasing the incline. And if you guys don't have an incline bench at home, that's okay. Just use a cushion or 2 off the couch, put it on the ground, and then put it under your upper, all right, shoulders, all right? And it'll create an effect where your shoulders are a little bit higher than your waist, okay? And that'll create kind of an incline. You can also put your shoulders on the couch and your butt down on the ground, and that'll give you an even steeper incline. So guys, it's like I said in the first, it's all about hitting these muscle fibers from different angles. Muscle confusion, that is what really helps build a big chest. Okay, so tip number 3 is the last of the exercises, and that is I want you to do flies. Do lots of fly movements. So there's 2 different ways you can do it. You can do flies with dumbbells, okay? And you can do flies with bands. All right, now I'm talking about you guys that work out at home that don't have a lot of equipment or don't have a gym membership. So I have tons of great videos showing you how to do banded flies. Fantastic. But just like the dumbbells, you can hit different parts of your chest with different angles with these flies. So you can do flat dumbbell flies, and then you can incline the bench, and you can do incline dumbbell flies. Same goes with bands, all right? So if you put the anchor at a midpoint behind you and you're doing flies like that, that's like a flat fly, okay, with dumbbells. So, you know, you're working your arms this way because the anchor is directly behind you. You put that anchor down low, and then your hands start off low, and you bring them up high towards your face, and then back down. These are like doing incline flies. All right, so when you do that, you move some of the emphasis towards the upper part of your chest, and that's how we work tons of different muscle fibers in our pecs from lots of different angles with just 3 basic exercises, okay? And actually just 2 basic exercises. One's a dumbbell press, and the other one is a fly. And it doesn't matter whether you're using dumbbells or bands, they all work fantastic. And I'm a big believer in doing lots of different exercises to hit the same muscle group. All right, the next 4 tips are all basically different versions of technique and mental attitude. So tip number 4 is intensity. This is a biggie I see both at the gym and when I see some of you guys post videos, okay, of yourself working out at home. So you may be doing great form. You may be doing all the exercises I tell you to do, all right? You may be sticking with it, doing it consistently, but if you're not putting the intensity into each set, then you're really going to plateau quick. You'll see some progress, especially you beginners, okay? But after just a few months, you're going to go, wow, I'm not getting any stronger. My chest didn't get any bigger. It worked great at first, but now, after 3 months, nothing's really happening. It's because you're not pushing yourself hard enough. And what I mean by intensity is, when you get to the last rep of a set, and I don't care whether your set is 8 reps or 20 reps, if you get to that last rep, okay, and you're not fatigued, if you're not just struggling really hard to get that last rep out, if you're not close to failure, then you're not putting in enough intensity. All right, so, and when I say 8 to 20 reps, we're going to get into that in just a minute, but Gary and myself included, when we put our programs together, our workouts tell you how many reps we want you to do in a given set, all right? And, you know, if you are picking too light of a weight, you know, if the dumbbells are too light, if you don't have enough band resistance on there, okay, and you get to that 8th rep, because that's what's called for in this particular workout, and you're not really just barely able to finish that 8th rep, then your intensity level isn't high enough. And a lot of you guys are getting to 8, putting the weight down, and going about your day. I can tell there's no strain on your face. If I was there with a gun holding it to your head, you could have knocked out another 3, 4, 5 reps. Well, if that's the case, then your intensity level isn't where it needs to be. All right, guys, tip number 5, and that is I want you to vary the rep range, okay? And you don't have to vary it, you know, within a given workout, but over the course of weeks and months, I don't want you doing 10 reps on every exercise week after week, month after month, okay? It will work to a point, but once again, you know, you'll get to a plateau and you'll wonder why you're not progressing. So you need to vary your rep range. And that's why if you follow my Fit After 50 program, you'll notice that, you know, some phases I have you doing 15 reps, some phases I'll have you doing 8 reps, okay? Some of them I'll be doing 10 or 12. It just kind of varies, and that is because your body responds differently with different rep ranges. And the reason being is you use different weights for different rep ranges. So if you're just doing, say, a dumbbell bench press, and I'm telling you to do 8 reps, then that means you need to pick a pretty heavy weight, because I want you near absolute failure on that 8th rep. Now, if my workout program said I want you to do 15 reps of dumbbell bench press, You can't use that same heavy weight. You'll never make it to 15. You'll have to use a lighter weight. But because the weight's lighter, you'll be able to push out more reps. And so your body and the muscles respond differently when you put different types of stress on them, different loads, different intensity, different angles, different exercises. All right, so, variety is the spice of life, and the same thing holds true for building muscles in your body. Okay, tip number 6, and this kind of goes back to tip number 4 a little bit with the intensity, and that is I want you guys to incorporate more sophisticated techniques for doing certain exercises. And that is, I want you guys to try drop sets, rest pause sets, and supersets, okay? I use those techniques in phase 4 of my Fit After 50 program, and they're tough, okay? I don't recommend beginners, all right, to use these techniques. I want you working at it for at least 3 months, okay? That's why it's phase 4 in my program. But guys, you're gonna love these techniques if you haven't tried them before. Now, this video is not about how to do a drop set or a superset. This video just tells you I want you to try those techniques. You can easily look those up right here on this YouTube channel. Just click that little search, feature with the little magnifying glass and just type in drop set or superset or rest pause set. And I guarantee you, you'll find probably a dozen or more videos of myself or Gary explaining how to do those exercises. Whew. Finally, tip number 7, the last one. You might have been begging for me to get to the end of this video. This is probably the hardest one for me to do, and which means I bet it's going to be the hardest one for you guys too, and that is you have to eat enough protein on a consistent basis if you want to build a big chest. All right, so these last 4 tips were not specific exercises, but they're ways to do exercises. And of course, tip number 7 has nothing to do with exercise at all. It's about nutrition. So guys, if you're not getting enough protein in your daily diet, then you're really gonna hamper your ability to build a big chest. You might be doing everything else right. You might be killing it. You might be doing tons of different exercises, different angles, the whole 9 yards, different number of reps. But if you're not eating enough protein, then you're not gonna get 100% out of all these workouts, okay? So once again, this video is not about how much protein to eat. There's lots of other videos that you can find right here on this YouTube channel that Gary and I have talked about. But you guys really need to focus on making sure you get enough good, high quality protein on a regular basis. You can't just do it 2 or 3 days a week. That ain't gonna hack it, guys. And trust me, this is the hardest thing for me to do. Out of all these 7 tips, I have the hardest time getting enough protein. I got to really think about it. I got to force myself to eat lots of good, healthy proteins without getting too much fat and too many carbs in there, all right? Because I don't want to get fat, all right? But if I don't get enough protein, screw it. All this work, all this effort we put in is just going to go down the tube. You'll still benefit, but you won't get 100%. You might only be getting 50 or 60% out of all this effort. All right. Long video, lots of tips here, 7 of them, but I promise if you stick with them and never give up on yourself, you can build a big, wide, impressive chest.